My mother had breast cancer all those years ago. It's always been something in the back of my mind, and it's always been very scary. So it seems like maybe I was always mentally preparing myself of the possibility, but when it became a reality, it was something totally different.
You feel like, at the beginning, you feel like almost you're the first person that's ever heard those words.
The first thought was, wow, had a history of that in my family, but knowing that and going in, I was just shocked, numb. But then all of a sudden it was like, okay, let's get this done. I want it gone. I just want it gone.
I was in bed and I pulled up the covers and kind of bumped the bottom part of my breast, and I felt something strange. So anyways, I went and made my appointment for my mammogram, and they did a needle biopsy, and it came back that it was indeed hormonal driven breast cancer.
I found my lump sort of as a self-examination, and I had it checked out 2 years in a row. Both times I was told it was not cancer. I eventually just wanted to have it removed because I didn't like it, and come to find out it was cancer, and so it was a big shock to me. The most important thing is to listen to your own body, though. Listen to your doctors, but also you do have a voice.
I was not able to detect it, so it was caught at a very early stage. So that being said, on July the 20th, I had a mammogram. I had gone in was called back actually on the 20th, and they did 2 biopsies, and I was notified the next day.
I had the lumpectomy, and my lymph nodes were clear, and they were able to get everything, but I was just a stage 1 because it was a level 3. My oncologist decided to be very aggressive because there was a 25% chance that it could have broken off in a cell and went somewhere else in my body, even though my lymph nodes were clear, and there's no way to actually track cells. So I had 9 very aggressive chemo treatments, and when that was done, I proceeded with 33 radiation treatments. And I am still doing infusions, and they last until the end of this year. And what that is the cancer-fighting drug Herceptin is still fighting the kind of cancer that I had.
I had surgery, they removed it, they took out my lymph nodes, and everything was clear. So I had a fairly easy recovery. I just had to take medication for 5 years. So I had surgery and had to take medication for 5 years. This is my 5th year. I got off my medication in April.
We go to see the oncologist, and we start to visit with him, and he gives me my options. We can remove one or leave it. We can't leave it because, the chances are, I say we can't, we could have. My chances probably would have been a 3 to a 9 year window of not if but when. And my answers in my brain were already there, more or less, kind of hard-headed and ready to get it done. Like I said earlier, let's just get this over with. And so, in much prayerful concern and decision with my husband as well, my best track was to have a double mastectomy, no longer giving cancer an option to do anything to me.
It helped me to know other people's journey and that they made it. And sometimes it's very lonely. It's a very lonely journey to go through, even though you're surrounded by a lot of people. Because I know that I didn't necessarily want my whole family seeing every single breakdown and meltdown and everything that I had, because I needed them to also remain positive and and believe in that I was going to win the journey. I was going to win the fight. My mode was to nurture everybody else, to keep them calm, and to try to let them know that things have changed since my mother had it, that I was the one trying to keep everybody together and saying, you know, we're just going to take it one step at a time and fight, and that's what I did.
I had a very rare form of breast cancer. It's only found in about 1% of breast cancer cases. And they said it was very invasive, so I'm very lucky I found it early. I had a lot of people surround me. One of the churches in town made me a prayer blanket, and my doctor actually let me cover up with it during my surgery because I wanted to be covered in prayer. So a lot of things change as far as your outlook when you start thinking that there's a possibility your life could end. It's very scary.
When COVID started, we all know all of the rules and regulations and requirements weren't allowing family members, and they weren't allowing people to go in with us, even to doctor's appointments. And when you have a diagnosis of any sort, but specifically something like cancer, and it's so traumatic, and in your brain you're thinking, I'm listening to what the doctor's telling me, when in actuality you may be hearing every third word, if you're fortunate, because you're in there by yourself. Before COVID, you would have had a loved one with you. That second set of ears and eyes is so important, because your focus is on yourself, and that's already traumatic enough with what you've heard. You're still trying to be a good manager of yourself, and that's still difficult because there's that fear, there's that emotional roller coaster that you're on. July the 20th, having the initial diagnosis, my actual surgery occurred on August the 6th. So that was fast, guys. I mean, doesn't give you a whole lot of time to really let things soak in, which probably is a good thing a lot of times, but August the 6th, I can honestly sit here and say, and I'm so blessed, I'm cancer-free. Not a lot of people can go in and from initial surgery and roll out from recovery and say, whew, I'm cancer-free, but I can claim that I'm cancer-free. And I owe that all because, God intended for us to be a little bit wiser, pay attention to those checkups, but it's also because that early detection, it was a contained cancer, had no time to get anyplace else. So that's kind of my journey. I've got the shortest parade ever. I'm still not through with my journey yet. I've still got a few things to take care of to wrap up my journey, but I'm still kind of wrapping my head around the fact that I had cancer, and that's a big thing, and it's a scary thing, and I watched it in my family. When I knew the outcome, I was afraid, but I'll have to say, I guess my faith carries me so much more so than anything else, but it was watching my family. That hurt, watching their fear. I knew, like these other two ladies, we're fighters, we're gonna scrap and rumble around, and we're gonna make the best of it, but watching your families go through that, they suffer, and that was the hard part for me, is watching them.
And I tell my daughters, I said, I don't care that mine is not considered hereditary, that even though their doctors tell them the same thing that mine told me way back at 32 and their ages now, to still get the mammograms. I don't care if you have to pay for them out of pocket or whatever, just get them, because it doesn't matter if it's hereditary or not. Early detection is the key. There's 20-year-olds that have breast cancer, and they happen to find theirs on their own because mammograms aren't recommended for that age. I say, do what your instinct tells you to do.
2 years in a row I had a mammogram, and they told me it was not cancer. Even when I went to the surgeon to have it removed, He told me he had taken hundreds of these out, and none of them were ever cancer. So when I went back to get my stitches out, I was really shocked to hear that I had cancer. So if you feel something's going on with your body and it just doesn't seem right, seek attention, get medical help, and don't stop until you get what you want, because if I hadn't have kept going and insisting to get it out, then I may not be here today.
Like I said earlier, I was not able to detect it myself, and in so doing, the mammogram was a necessity. I'm a firm believer in having your checkups, having a history of cancer, of many, many different types of cancer, not just breast cancer, but many types in my family. I'm just a firm believer of having those checkups because there were very many preventable times in my family's background that we could have had a longer life with some loved ones had they chosen to take those opportunities and not skip out on those annual checkups. And we lost those times. And so I've laughed with my family and always said, by golly, if I'm supposed to have cancer, it won't be because I didn't try to prevent it.
Before my mother's diagnosis, October breast cancer awareness, I just really didn't, I understood the importance of it. During the time that she had it and every time after, I always had things to wear that were pink and in support and in memory of her because she lost her battle. And now I'm just grateful for the opportunities that my mother didn't have. I think of October and I really want to still be public about it because everyone needs to know that the key to survival in a lot of cases is early detection. So it makes me even more aggressive during the month of October to get the word out.
Well, when I think of October, I think of breast cancer awareness, and I just can't stress how important it is because early detection usually saves lives. So I know nobody wants to go get their tatas squished, but that's just part of life. So it doesn't really hurt that bad. Get it over with, get checked out, do your self-examinations, because you really want to know if something's going on with your body, and the quicker you find out, the better chances you have of survival.
Now, I look at the color pink and I think of the month October, and when someone says breast awareness, I think checkup. And it's something that just keeps coming to my brain. Even with my daughter, she's only 36. I don't care, every young person, any woman. I've talked to numerous people since my diagnosis and said, please, have you had your checkup? My first question, have you had your checkup yet? Have you gone to get your mammogram? And many of them will say, no, I said, no, please don't. And so I force my story on them more or less, but because, it's important, don't skip out. So it's had a big change for me in the fact that, it was important before, and I don't mean that it wasn't, but now it really resonates more.
I am not invasive ductal carcinoma HER2 FISH positive. I am Rhonda Markham, and I am a survivor.
I'm not invasive papillary carcinoma. I'm Shannon Anderson, and I'm a survivor.
I am not DCIS cancer. I am Bobby Byford, and I'm a survivor.